Hi guys, welcome back. That cosplay video that I posted a couple weeks ago absolutely drained any and all energy and motivation that I had to do long form video content, so I do apologize. It has been a while since you've seen me here. Even though I said I would be back for regular videos again. You should never listen to me when I make that promise. I can promise you that my promise to continue doing long form content is never going to be entirely foolproof. Anyway, I don't have a great idea for what I wanted to do for this video. In fact, I didn't really have any idea for what I wanted to do, so I figured it would be kind of fun to just do a little doodling, really. Get back to my roots. I did that doodle with me video a while ago where I drew the little fairy girl, and I really enjoyed doing that. It was a really nice way to kind of like put out a nice, easy video. So I kind of want to do that again, but we're doing something a little different today. So I have recently been getting into alcohol markers. I bought the Copic crate from Copic, which was like a little discounted mystery crate. So I got a good collection of markers from that. Plus this fancy little holder. This is mostly the markers that I got from the kit, plus some of the ones that I had that were in that plastic baggie from that video that I made a while ago. I've got a couple more over there. My marker collection is really just growing. I'm sorry for the mess on this bookshelf, but like I've got Sharpies, I've got Copics now. My friend Kara sent me some Ohuhu markers, which I've still yet to try. I need to test those out. But like for someone who is not an alcohol marker artist, I seem to be acquiring quite a collection of them. So I think what I want to do today is I want to try using them on my own. In other words, sort of outside of a coloring book. Because all that you guys have seen me do so far is just using alcohol markers in a coloring book, specifically Galaxy Gals by Creative Kara. You can find it on Amazon for $20 or most likely at your local bookstore. But I would like to try and make my own piece and then color in that own piece with alcohol markers. I want to see how that goes. So as you can see, we're back to my little Inktober / traditional setup here. I have not yet put my drawing table away because I have made a commitment to myself to really work more on my traditional skills this year. And this is a Canson sketchbook made specifically for markers. Again, Kara recommended it to me. Kara is like my alcohol marker IT guy. My AM guy, if you will. Any question I have about alcohol markers, I go to her and she usually has the answer for me. Now, I have already used this. I posted this to my Instagram a while back. This is a drawing that I did on my own. I sketched it, I inked it, it's all my drawing. I colored it in with alcohol markers, and I did it on this Canson sketchbook paper, which Kara did assure me is perfectly suitable for alcohol markers, and I gotta say, wow, is it? There were points in this picture, like I really screwed up with the blush around the eyes here. I was certain that it was gonna bleed through like 3 pieces of paper. First of all, I did not tear out a page here. This is the next page. There is not a drop of ink on the next page of paper. I'm absolutely astounded. And even looking at the back of this paper, you really can't see at all. Like obviously you can see where the alcohol markers were used, but there's no like intense bleed through on the parts that I had to go over a million times. I'm just unbelievably impressed with how well this paper works. So I want to try it again. Now, because I tried that sketch a couple weeks ago and I did color it in fully with the alcohol markers, I learned a couple things. One of which is the markers that I use for inking, my Micron collection. I realized that I need to give these a little bit longer to dry than I thought I did. So what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to try and do the full sketch and line art for this piece tonight. It's pretty late at night right now. It is 8 o'clock. So I'm going to do the full sketch and line art for this, but I'm going to let the Micron markers dry overnight and come back to this another day to actually start the coloring process. So without further ado, let's get into the sketch. There it goes again. Why is that so out of focus? I think it's because my lighting's really bad. I can't turn the overhead light on because then I'll get really bad shadows, but the only light that I have right now is my is the ring light facing me and a ring light down on the paper, so I do apologize if it defocuses on occasion. I'm just gonna have to keep checking on that. I think what I want to do is another portrait because that's what I'm the most comfortable with. So I'm just gonna start with a basic head shape here. This paper is extremely smooth. I'm assuming that's why it's so good for alcohol markers, because I imagine a really textured paper would just soak up the ink a lot. And because this paper is so smooth, it feels like it's really rejecting the ink, if that makes sense. Obviously not to the point that you won't be able to get anything on the paper, but it does feel like it's kind of helping to actually use the alcohol markers themselves. I don't really know what I'm drawing yet, aside from just a portrait of a person looking over their shoulder. This angle, by the way, I keep trying to draw this. It's really difficult, but this kind of angle of someone looking over their shoulder like this is just super difficult to draw when it comes to the shoulder, at least for me. It's really hard to get the deltoids to look right. Deltoids, these muscles right here on top of your collarbone. But what I have to do here is kind of draw in the entire collarbone where I think it would go, and so then sort of attach the muscles around it. This is actually quite a difficult pose for just a practice piece. Well, if I'm gonna practice a new medium, I might as well practice my poses as well. All right, she's a little more hunched than I was initially going for, but I think it'll do. I'm trying to keep my hand in frame. I'm sorry if it annoys you, but it seems to be helping my camera sort of focus on things. I kind of want to try, I don't know, let me look. I would love to try a character with darker skin, but I'm not really sure. These are really the only like skin tone colors that I have. The pink on the bottom there I think is obviously a little bit too pink. The brown, it just looks like such a grayish brown that I don't really know if it'll work that well. And then obviously this is like a really, really blushy pink. That's something to keep in mind if I'm ever shopping for Copic markers, is I should probably try and find some skin tones because I do not have them right now. But I've only ever colored in like lighter skinned characters with my Copics so far, and I really want to try some darker skin tones. And you know what? I also have my Sharpies over there that I have yet to try on this paper. Actually, it would be nice to test the Sharpies on this because I don't know how they would react yet. Maybe let's do Sharpies on this one. I just haven't had much of an opportunity to work with darker skin tones except for on that Sharpie piece that I did. And even that was still pretty light. You know what? This is gonna be a very practice heavy piece. Normally I'd be filming a TikTok too while I'm doing this. Why'd I say that so harshly? Normally I'd be filming a TikTok too while I'm doing this, but I feel like I would be a little too scrambled trying to do the long form video and traditional art and a TikTok, so I'm just gonna stick with the YouTube video for today. I also, though, I'm gonna have to decide when I come back to this whether or not I want to use the Sharpies or the Copics, because I think it would be a really cool idea to use the cooler brown color that I have. I think it was called Cool Cocoa, and just do like a bit of a desaturated piece. I think that would look really neat. That'll be something that I can look into next time we visit this when it's time to color. This is how I usually start drawing noses, is I'll draw this kind of shape that almost looks like lips. This is supposed to be the top of the nose here, and then you can kind of shape the nostrils out of the bottom here. But that initial lips shape always reminds me of that silly makeup trend where you would pull your shirt up over your lips and then draw lips on your nose. It always just makes me giggle a little. This is so relaxing. I really do love and miss doing traditional art. It's a very zen process. For some reason, I find it a lot more relaxing than digital art. Do a light smile on this character. I didn't really leave enough room for her philtrum there. Hang on. My eraser was literally within reach this whole time, and I just scooted all the way across my room looking for it. Just need to bring her mouth a little bit further down. There we go. Now she can have an upper lip without squashing it up against her nose. I want to draw braids so bad. I want to give her a nice braided hairstyle, but I know I can do that. I can do that really easily when it comes to digital art, but I am still getting the hang of traditional inking, microns especially. I find they're really difficult to use. I don't know if I just need more practice or if I should find a different kind of inking pen, but I just find microns so difficult to use. So I think I'll just stick with a nice, loose, natural hair texture. I do want to try my hand at doing some piercings again, because it's a really fun place to add highlights, I've found. I kind of want to just do some like nice dangly ones. Wow, really testing my my inking skills with this one, apparently. I know it's going to be difficult for me to ink, and yet my hand still does it. All right, I think for the hair, I want to do something like a low bun almost. I think it would be really cool if it was just sort of framing her shoulders. Kind of just like all the way out here. Make it really fantastical, almost. And then it would probably have to be pretty tight to the top of her head. Should I do braids? Should I just say screw it and do some braids? I mean, I've already given myself a challenge with these earrings. Yeah, screw it, let's do some braids. I'm gonna make them really big, nice and chunky. Braids are just so much easier to draw in a traditional space than they are in a digital space. At least when it comes to penciling. So I really feel like it would be such a wasted opportunity if I don't give her some nice big braids. I'll tell you what though, are there any other artists out there with astigmatism that have such a hard time with traditional art? I've been to the eye doctor once before, and he did say that I have very, very, very slight astigmatism, to the point that I don't need glasses for it. It doesn't really affect me in day-to-day life. But when I'm trying to draw traditional, especially if I'm trying to focus in on small details, I've found that because traditional art obviously doesn't have a zoom feature, it really strains my eyes, and I can feel them every now and then just kind of like do a little shifty shift. I think at some point I'm gonna go to Costco and just get myself a pair of glasses that I can kind of just keep in the studio specifically for drawing. I've been told I would look cute in glasses, so I'm also trying something different today. I'm listening to music as I'm drawing. I usually don't listen to music while I'm recording because I've always felt like it would distract me from like the actual talking part. But then I realized I always listen to music when I'm streaming, so what difference is it? And on recording, if I get distracted and I need to cut a part out, I can do that. I can't do that on streaming, so actually, been a lot easier for me, and it helps me stay focused. Drawing in silence is just the most difficult thing. I need some sort of noise in my ears, either music or like rain sounds or ambience or cafe noises or something. Podcasts are the best. I'm always the most productive and the most focused when I listen to podcasts. And I think it's because, well, I know it's because podcasts have just enough of a story in them to like really capture my attention, but there's no visuals. So for example, if I'm listening to music, sometimes I'll find my mind sort of wandering a little bit and I'll end up getting distracted that way because music just doesn't capture my attention that well. There's no storyline to it. There's nothing for me to actually hold on to and pay attention to. And then sometimes I'll watch like YouTube videos, but generally those are gonna have a visual. And the visual is going to distract me from my art. And I'm just one of those people that like once I get distracted from something, it takes a really long time to get back into what I was doing. So podcasts are just perfect because it's enough of an attention grabber to really keep me focused without distracting me. Love me a good podcast when I'm working. Right now I'm listening to music though, because I wouldn't be able to listen to a podcast and talk to you at the same time. All right, well I think the sketch is just about finished here. I'm kind of dawdling a little bit because I'm very scared to move on to the micron inking step. I'm so nervous about the outcome of it. Generally the inking is where I feel the most unconfident in the finished product because I love the sketch. Usually the sketch looks fantastic, but the sketch can also be erased. And once I get to actually using pens and can no longer erase and I start making mistakes, then I start feeling a lot less confident and I start making more mistakes, etc., etc. So I'm nervous, but there's really nothing to be done other than just jump into it, huh? So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I think I'm going to jump into it and I'm going to be so careful about it. So apologies if I put my head down, but again, I need to get closer to the paper to actually see what I'm doing because there's no zoom button on a sketch pad. Here we go. Okay, so far, not too bad. I'm more concerned about the underside of the eye because I like to leave a little bit of a gap in the sketch and I usually can never translate that to pen. So I think instead of trying to leave a gap, I'm just gonna try and do as thin of a line as possible. All right, there we go. Try the other eye. And that lower line was a little thick. Okay, I have the eyes outlined and I'm realizing now how kind of lopsided they are, but that's okay. She's human, and humans are not symmetrical. At least not perfectly. I would love to get to a point one day where I could be so confident with lining a piece that I don't have to do these little sketchy lines, but right now this is kind of the best that I can do to get the cleanest result that I can. I'm also so scared of smudging the ink. I remember for my Inktober series, I did use microns for all of those drawings, and the ink did not smudge that bad. I could pretty much go right over it and it would already be dry. But I was also using different paper, so who knows, the ink might smudge on this one because it's so smooth. I'm trying to be careful. It would be really cool. I'm just sort of daydreaming about content ideas. It would be really cool if I could figure out how to record and live stream off of my phone at the same time, like live stream to TikTok. And then I would feel like I would actually have someone that I'm talking to, and then I could just download the live stream and cut it up to kind of create a TikTok out of it. This is my life now. If I'm not thinking about art, I'm thinking about ways to make content and sort of maximize production. It's very exhausting. Okay. I keep saying like, this is the hardest part, this is the hardest part, this is the hardest part. I think eyelashes are the hardest part. And I don't think anyone can contest me on that because it's so difficult. One, to get them going the right direction. Oops. See, and just like that, it's really hard to maintain that nice like point on them. See, now that eyelash is a little wonky. It's fine, it's fine. We can just say that she's wearing clumping mascara. Actually, should I just give her like really like a lot of mascara? I think that would kind of look good. I'm gonna very slowly start filling in some of these lashes, kind of see what I can get away with. Because I kind of like that sort of punk style of just having layers upon layers of mascara on your lashes. I think that's very cool. I think I've already screwed it up. I think I'm gonna stop. I think it's fine, but I'm afraid to go further, so I'm gonna stop. Do these little bottom lashes here. This is taking so long, and it's because I'm being so flippin' careful, because I love this sketch and I would hate to ruin it. Oh my god, the eyes are the worst. Okay, that was horrible. All right, the irises are I'm gonna say it again, the irises are the worst to draw, because you really have to make them like a perfect circle, and it's so nerve-wracking. I think for the eyebrows, I'm just gonna kind of scribble some hairs in because I want them to look a little sparse. I don't want them to look like full, thick eyebrows. At least not the full eyebrows that I usually draw. Usually, well, this is a really bad example because these eyebrows are really thin. But usually I'll draw like the outline of the eyebrow and then I'll fill it in. But I'm digging this like sort of wispy look. I think I'm gonna keep it like that. God, my digital art style is so clean is not the correct word, but it's like very highly polished. And I really, really like it that way, but I'm kind of thinking my traditional style might be a bit messier. If just kind of by default, because I don't know how to polish it yet. Kind of like it though. Okay, nose, I got the nose done easy. Oh, why did I do braids? You know what? I'm gonna lean into the messy. And I think we're gonna go somewhere good with it. Oh, that jaw is so lopsided. I'm trying to correct it a little bit. I'm not breathing. I'm literally catching myself holding my breath. Oh, I hate how lopsided that is. It's fine. It's fine. Lean into the mess. Lean into it, lean into it, lean into it, lean into it, lean into it. May have leaned into it too much. These don't look like braids anymore, and I'm a little sad about it. But I've kind of already committed to this style now. I don't completely dislike it, but I'm also like so stressed right now. Can I just like pop a picture up here of how I normally draw braids before we go back to this one? Just right here. This is how I normally draw braids. I promise I'm good at it. I really wanted to lean into the sloppiness of the style with the hair. And I think I might have overdone it. I'm really hoping that that's gonna look better once I start coloring it. Oh boy, okay. Messing up my hair, I'm so stressed. Let's do these earrings. These super delicate earrings that I decided to draw. My pen is just like barely hovering over the paper with these. I'm sure I'm gonna go over some of them when I have to draw the hair in the background. All right, those weren't too bad actually. I think it's the markers that's gonna kill me on that one. What if I do some like crosshatch shading on this? Do we think that's a good idea? No, I think that's a bad idea actually. I take that back immediately. Maybe once I'm finished with the markers, I can go back in with the pen and do some hatch shading, but I think doing that initially would be a very bad idea. Oh, this character's so pretty. Oh, I just wanted to put a little more shading in the eyes and I kind of overdid it. It's fine. Okay, I just gotta do the rest of the body and the hair, which is not a lot of super fine detail, so I think it'll be fine. So I think for the rest of this, I'll just shut up, show you guys the speed draw, and then I'll be back with the finished outline and we can do the markers another day. Do that right now. I think that's probably the best line art that I've ever done. I'm a little upset about the braids. I wish I had never even attempted that, but I think it's good. I was thinking about doing the little like loose hairs, not loose hairs. What are, like when you braid, obviously you can see the hair that you're pulling from the scalp to put into the braid. I was thinking of drawing that, but I kind of want to leave that to the markers. I want to see if I can do that with markers because I want it to be a little softer than with the Micron pen. So I'm gonna go ahead and let that dry overnight, or however long it takes me to get to the second part of this video. Yeah, and next time you see me will be a new day, and I'm going to be coloring this with either my Copic markers, my Sharpies, or maybe we could test out my new Uhuhu markers. We'll see. I'll decide later. I'm kind of leaning towards the like desaturated Copics though. I think that might be fun. If I have enough colors for that, that would be cool. Anyway, I'll see y'all later. Hello friends, I've returned for night 2. I honestly have no idea how I had these cameras set up before. I had to take them down to set up for stream and then put them back, so apologies. I feel like I'm a little closer to the camera than I was before. The canvas camera, the camera that's showing my paper, I know this is wrong, but I have absolutely no idea what it looked like before. So I'm just trying to make do. But it's like, I feel like it's way closer this time. Anyway, I have decided to go with the desaturated palette for this character. I thought about it a lot, and I think it would be really, really fun to try and do the kind of like grayish brown skin tone. It's called cocoa brown. Honestly, I haven't even swatched these, so it could be completely, like a completely reasonable brown color. Let me go ahead and swatch it real quick. Oh yeah, that's super light. Yeah, that's the swatch there. That is actually not only really desaturated, but it's a lot lighter than I thought it was going to be. I'm a little scared about that. I do also have these two colors, Currant and Lipstick Rose. The Lipstick Rose color, I don't know if I'm gonna use it. It seems way too light to be able to use it on anything, but I know this Currant color. This one is actually a lot grayer than I was anticipating, so I think it'll go really well with the Cocoa Brown. I think those two together will go really well. This will be a nice blush color and this will be a nice skin tone. I also picked yellow, and I think what I want to try and use the yellow for, this one is cream specifically, it's like a very light yellow. I want to try and highlight her face with this. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the yellow down first, and then I'm gonna go in with the Currant and do some blush and kind of do like an underpainting situation, I think is what I'm going for. And then I'm going to go on top of it with the Cocoa Brown. And I don't, like, I have a very, very limited color scheme what I'm doing here. So I don't think it's gonna take that long. I also discovered I'm not sure if I have any pure black Copics. I must somewhere, right? I thought for sure I did. But if I did, I can't find them. So I just have a neutral gray. And that will kind of be my black color today. So I think first things first, here's the other thing. I really, really want to try a technique of shading while I'm doing this. So I'm so scared this is gonna mess it up. I really, really am. But I think what I wanna do is where'd my yellow go? Oh, I want to take these three colors, the yellow, blue, and the pink, and I wanna do some underpainting. I feel like this is something I probably should have practiced. I'm gonna do it. You know what? I'm going for it. And I know the first thing that I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take the blue and I'm going to paint her scalp underneath where her hair would be. Just going right in there. Because generally, I'm also keeping the sketch lines on this because one, I'm too lazy to erase them, and two, I've kind of been experimenting with keeping messy sketch lines in the final piece, and I really like it, so I'm gonna see what it does with the alcohol markers. But anyway, I'm putting the blue here because generally when you have skin that's usually covered by hair, whether that's like a beard or a scalp, it's gonna be a lot cooler toned, especially if the hair is black, because you still get the little like stubble on the beard, or you get light showing through the pulled back hairs, and it makes it seem a lot cooler, so that's why I'm putting the blue up there. It's also just a thing that I've seen people do a lot when they're doing these kind of like underpaintings, is just using the blue in places where hair would be I'm sure there's someone online who's described it a better way, but basically wherever hair goes is where blue goes. But I'm also going to take the blue and I'm going to, I don't want to do this. I'm so scared. but I really, really want to try doing this underpainting and putting the blue in where I think the shadows should go. So I think the first thing I want to do is this shadow right under the neck, or right under the chin, I should say, right on the neck. Okay, here we go. And I've already started, I might as well continue. So we're going to put another shadow inside the ears here. Should I go under the nose? I think I'm going to try under the nose. I'm going to leave the lips alone for now though, because I do want those to be like a pinky blush color. I mean, right now, I think this is looking great because it's just the white paper and the blue shading. So currently, very happy with it. It looks fantastic. Very scared to ruin this later. But I'm basically just putting the blue anywhere that I would normally put cell shading on a digital piece. Part of me really wants to take a colorless blender and sort of blend the blue out into the white, but I am not. Again, I'm still very much a novice to alcohol markers, and I'm not entirely sure if the colorless blender can be used that way and then gone over again. So I'm gonna refrain from doing that. All right, I've been avoiding the face. I'm a little scared to do the face, but I do kind of want to do just the cheekbones here. So let's go ahead and go for it. Oh my God. If I do the cheekbones, I gotta do the temples as well. So just a little bit right there. Okay. By itself, I think it looks very good, but we're not here to just call this a day. I want to try and continue and get this to a full colored piece. So what I'm gonna do next, I keep doing that. These double-sided markers, I keep just like taking one cap off to put on the other side, and then I have another side exposed. I don't know, should I do the blush or should I do the highlights next? I kind of want to do the highlights next. So this is what I'm thinking. I did the blue for the shadows, yellow for the highlights, and then pink for sort of like the in-between areas to kind of blend them together. I gotta go for it now, honestly. So, well, I want to do the pink first. I'm changing my mind. I want to do the pink first. And the pink is just gonna kind of go wherever the blue was. Just sort of edge it out a little bit with kind of an emphasis on where the blush should be on the face. I mean, I'm like really impressed with this so far. I think this looks really cool. I'm just very scared with how it's gonna look when I put it all together. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Add a little bit to the nose. I think I'll go up the sides of the nose too. But I wanna leave that middle for the yellow. And then I'm just kind of winging it here, but this is sort of where the bridge of the nose would meet the brow line. All right, we're getting somewhere. We are getting somewhere. It's scary, that's for sure, but it's doing something. Kind of just want to paint the lips in too. Should I do that? You know what? I'm going back to the blue, taking back what I said before, and I'm painting in the top lip with blue. I apologize if you can hear Discord going off in the background. I forgot to turn that off, and my computer's way over there, and I don't really want to get up to do that. But next I'm going to continue coloring in the lips with this pink color. And the bottom lip's just gonna be pink. And then the top lip is gonna be the pink over the blue. So hopefully it's a little bit of a darker color. All right, you know what? Okay, alcohol markers can be so cool, but this is all just experimenting right now. And I'm really scared because I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing. But it's turning out pretty neat, I would say. Once again, just sort of putting an emphasis with the pink on areas where blush would normally go. Okay, it looks so scary, but like I'm kind of seeing it in my mind, in my mind's eye. Ooh, let's get the ears. All right, last is the one that I think I'm the most scared about, which is the yellow. That's why I skipped it to go for the pink. So this is just gonna be all the like really highlighted areas of the face. So the forehead, the tops of the cheeks, the bridge of the nose, chin, shoulders, and sort of the front of the chest. Let's go. I'm gonna swatch it. Okay, it's very yellow and I'm scared, but I think it'll work. It looks scary, and I know it looks scary, and I'm scared. If I were a good artist, I would say trust the process, but I'm not really trusting myself right now, if I'm being honest. I'm really, really hoping that this is all just gonna blend away once I put the skin tone over the top of it. I'm praying to whoever's listening. Just kind of go along all the edges here now that everything's kind of filled in. And don't forget the ears again. I just remembered that the canvas camera was having trouble focusing last time, and the way that I remedied that was having my hand in the frame. I have not been doing that this time, so I apologize if it has gone out of focus. It's also in a different position though, so maybe it'll be fine. We'll see. Oh, I did it again. All right. It looks scary. I know it looks scary, and I'm scared. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go in with the cocoa brown. I'm gonna go over everything. And I'm crossing everything, hoping that it's just gonna blend together, but we will see. Let's start with the scalp. Okay, hold on. Okay, wow. I might have made a mistake by not leaving any white space, but I'm gonna go in with the colorless blender and see if I can just kind of lift some stuff. But I was a little too scared to really think about leaving space. But I think it's kind of working. Am I crazy? Oh, I just went right over the teeth. That's not what I meant to do. Try and go around the jewelry as best as possible. Am I crazy to say that I think this might be working? I'm crazy, right? You can definitely see the like pen strokes, which is not great. I'm gonna try to minimize that on the body. Problem is I don't really know how to minimize it. It kind of just feels like if I leave the marker alone for too long, like if I leave the area alone and I don't immediately go back over it, there's gonna be some pen strokes, and I don't really know. Maybe let's try the little circles. Hopefully that'll help. Okay, the little circles is definitely a lot better. I should have done that from the beginning. I just got scared. Okay, so here's the thing. It absolutely does still look insane. I'm gonna try going back in though with a few colors here. First of all, I'm gonna use the red to sort of emphasize the blush areas. And that's gonna be this darker red, the current from before. I think I'm just gonna go over I tried to leave some white space around the eyes as like a highlight, but I think I'm just gonna go over that so that everything's even. All right, so I'm going in with the current. I'm trying to throw some blush in here. My headphones just died. It's okay. Remembering to take that brown color and kind of blend this out. That's something I learned when I was doing the coloring books for this, is that you can blend the markers. You just have to be quick about it. Oh, I'm getting nervous. I shouldn't say I'm getting nervous. I am continuing to be nervous from when I started this whole piece. There's some parts of this that actually look really good. Like the scalp, I think, looks really good. The shading underneath the chin, I think, looks good. Basically, anywhere the blue was put down looks awesome. The rest of it, not so much. So I think we've discovered that maybe the yellow and the pink was a bad idea. Either that, or I just don't know how to do that yet. I think I'm just gonna go in with the brown and kind of define the shading a little bit. Kind of get these spots that look a little muddy. Oh, it looks a little too... I'm scared to go back over it, but I have to. Just sort of carve that out a little bit. Oh my god. It's not looking good. I'm gonna be so perfectly honest. It's not looking good. At least not to me. I'm just gonna kind of keep going in with the brown, try and fix some of these mistakes. Just kind of hope and pray that the brown will fix it for me. Okay. It feels like things are kind of getting fixed. It's sort of acting a little more abstract than I would like it to, but it's getting there. It's getting there. I think I'm just kind of being a little afraid of the brown, because I really need to remember that the colors do seem to lighten a bit on the page. So I just gotta go for it. I will redefine her lips in a second. I know they've definitely gotten lost in there. I'm just kind of trying to make sure everything has like an even coating right now. Trying to get rid of those brush strokes. Wow, did I make it worse? What's worse is I think it looks even worse on camera than it does in real life. Oh boy. I have confidence that we can salvage this. We can fix this. Do I think this looks like a mess? Yes. Do I regret trying the underpainting technique? No, because it's something that I wanted to try. It's something that I wanted to learn, and I'm glad I tried it. I'm going to look into it a little bit more and see what I did wrong, because something's wrong. I was also kind of hoping it would give a little bit more saturation to this marker that I'm working with. Because again, this marker is a little bit of an ashy tone. It's a little desaturated. And I think it did lend a little bit of color, just maybe not the color I was wanting. I know this is gonna look better once I do add highlights to it, because it always does, but it's just looking real bad right now. Yeah, after all that, I kind of just ended up with one solid bad color. I'm gonna move on to the hair. I'm gonna get away from this and move on to the hair. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna color in the hair brown, because I did color the braids in brown, so I want them to match. And then I'm gonna go over it with that dark gray to hopefully get like a nice dark brown hair. I'm just doing the hair in silence, trying to gain a little bit of my dignity back here. Ooh, that dark gray is remarkably dark though. Wow, it's very juicy. Whoa. Oops. What do? I have no way of, all right, I managed to dab it up with a little bit of fabric that I had lying around, but why? Oh my God, why did I have to do that? Well, at least I know the signs, because I was literally just saying how incredibly juicy this marker is. I'm just kind of wiping it off on my scrap paper every now and then. That was very uncool. I did not appreciate that. All right, you know what? For a neutral gray color, this is coming up very black. Is this not black? I think these markers are lying to me. I'm gonna be so honest here. They are telling falsehoods. That is so incredibly black. I was really hoping to get like a nice, really, really dark brunette color, but my God, these markers are doing me so dirty. I don't even want to color in the little like earring areas. This is just gonna be a disaster. My God. Very, very carefully just trying to color in the little gaps here. I'm like actually furious about how much that marker just bled all over my paper. All right, just fix up the braids here a little bit. There it goes again, there it goes again. All right, you need to be like stored this way. I'm putting it right side up, which I know is a big no-no with alcohol markers, but it needs to know it did me dirty. Okay, all right, I need to go in and define these lips because these are not looking Gucci. I'm actually gonna go in with the blue again, because it was, I think of all the under coloring that I did, the blue turned out the best, so I'm gonna try using it again, just for some shading. Oh, that's beautiful, that's lovely. Look at that beautiful blue color. That is such a delight after using that god-awful, what is this? Neutral gray number 8. My ass. Actually, you know what? Should I go? Let me try doing these shadows again with just the blue color. It's redeeming itself. We are having a little bit of a redemption here. Actually, the blue didn't need to redeem itself. The blue did nothing wrong, but my artistic skills are being redeemed. Oh, that's lovely. That's such a lovely, deep, dark shading color. I'm so happy. It's coming together. I can't believe this blue was the magic elixir that we needed. And it was literally here from the very beginning. The blue is the one that we started with. And I didn't know that it would come back around to save me in the end. Very poetic. How's it looking on camera? Not too bad, not too bad. I think I always really freak myself out with alcohol markers too, because the process never looks the same as the finished product. You gotta kind of wait for the markers to like blend together a little bit. Give them some time to cook. Oh my God, I'm not mad at all. It's actually turning out so good, and I'm so excited. The only thing that I'm really concerned about is the forehead nose area. Still looks really splotchy, and I'm very nervous to try and go in and fix it. But yeah, all these shaded spots now are looking a lot better. I'm taking the blue into the hair to see if it'll help me fix it. Ooh, you know what I can do? I can do the edges of the hair with this blue. I wanted to kind of do a highlight over there, and I was thinking of coloring in the edges with the brown color, but I think the blue would give it a coolness to the piece. Oh, I'm so tempted to highlight one side with the blue and the other side with the yellow. I'm not gonna do that. That sounds like it's a horrible, horrible idea. I'm just gonna do all blue. Finish what I started. And that gray is not budging, so that's just gonna stay where it is. Okay, all right. I'm not mad. I'm so not mad at it. You know what I am gonna do actually? I'm gonna take this same yellow and I'm gonna give her a yellow tank top, and hopefully that'll kind of complement the yellow in her skin. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Basically, I'm just trying to hide as many of the mistakes as I can right now. Oh, that actually suits her so well. I'm so glad I did that. Okay. Something else I want to do. I want to give her brown eyes, but I want to try and give her like almost amber eyes. I don't have a lot of space to work with, so I'm a little nervous about it. But I think if I use the yellow one more time, just throw that in there as the base. And then I want to take, where's my brown? There it is. And the brown is gonna kind of shade the eyes. Trying not to go too overboard. I want to try and throw a little bit of like a bright orange color in there just to get a little bit of like illumination. I'm gonna go right at the top. I don't know if that gave the exact effect that I wanted it to. Going in with the brown again. Yeah, I just want to kind of go over what I just did. That's not bad, actually. That's kind of cool. Should I go in with my trusty blue and kind of just do the tops blue? I don't think that's a bad idea. Yeah. All right, that's gorgeous. Okay, well, I think the only thing left to do is the jewelry. Initially, I wanted to do the jewelry silver, but now I'm kind of thinking maybe gold to match the tank top. And obviously she's now got a very warm skin tone with all the reds and golds in there. I also kind of want to go over the lips again with this pink color. At least just sort of define the outline of them a bit more. Because I like the blue, but they were looking a little dead. There we go. I like that. Oh, I like that a lot. Okay. I'm gonna do blue jewelry. I have a plan, don't worry. I'm not completely crazy. But I'm gonna go ahead and color in all this white area with the blue. All right, and then here's where my plan comes into play. Well, actually, hang on. I have this. I have a gold speedball pen. It came in the same pack as the white highlighting pen that I use. I wonder if I could use this for the jewelry. I have this and I have silver. Maybe silver would be better because I've already painted it blue. I want to try this. Ooh, okay. I'm going in. Just doing little dots. Oh, you're kidding. Holy crap, I love that. Is that picking up well on camera? I don't know. I'll try and make sure I get a shot of like just how beautifully silver this is. But it looks like it's been foiled. That is gorgeous. God, you just can't do stuff like this with digital art. This is so fun. I want to add more earrings. Is that bad? Should I add more? Let's add some outlines first. Do a little conch piercing. Can do some flats up here. Should we do an industrial on this side? That'd be fun. Doesn't matter that it's already been colored in because that silver is just gonna go right over it. Maybe just a little cuff right here. Any excuse to use more of this silver pen. This is so fun. Gorgeous. Oh, absolutely gorgeous. I am noticing I did smear the silver a little. I don't know if you can see it on my hand there, but it's fine. Stunning. Can I use the gold? I want to use the gold in her eyes. I might be going overboard, but I'm gonna do it. Oh my God, you're kidding me. Okay, let's get back to the original reason I brought these out for highlights. I've learned to just be very conservative with highlighting because this thing is very, very juicy and it will get all over the place. So I'm just gonna do a couple little highlights in the eyes, which is always my favorite part. That just makes it absolutely glow. Clean this off a little. Do a couple little lip highlights. Normally I would do some on the top lip as well, but I'm not really trusting the pen right now. It's being very leaky. So I just want to do a couple on the shoulders and then right on the tip of the nose and up the bridge. I'm trying to get the patchiness to sort of disappear. But I mean, I think with that, we're pretty much done. I could probably stand to do a couple highlights down the side of her face. Here we go. Yeah, just to kind of break up all the darkness here, because I know there are quite a few dark colors between her hair and her skin tone. I'm actually so happy with how this turned out. I feel like I might be going overboard on the white, but you know what? I don't care. Highlights are my favorite part. I love making my characters glow. Can I color over that? Wait. I want to do some experimenting. Oh, excellent, because it was looking just slightly too harsh in some spots. The white highlight was. But I think if I just kind of color over the edges of it, it'll be perfect. Oh my God, perfect. I think this whole nose highlight, to be honest, needs to be toned down. All right, as much as I want to keep working on this, I gotta stop. Because I think I've gotten it to a point where I actually really like it now, as opposed to earlier when I was really hating it because I was getting scared of what the colors were doing. So I'm just gonna give her my classic little outline, kind of clean her up a little bit. Let's get a thicker marker actually. All right, there we go. She is complete. That was scary. That was extremely scary for a very long time, but I think I did it. My camera I can see is running out of battery, so I'm gonna make this quick. I'm gonna go ahead and post this on my Instagram if you wanna follow me there. It's just Threadwing. I also have a Twitch where you can follow me as well, see me go live. I'm also posting on TikTok every day, and if you want to support this channel in the absolute best way possible, you can find me on Patreon. All of those, of course, are under Threadwing, same as spelled here on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to this video so you can find your way back here for next week's video or the week after. I'm not entirely sure. My upload schedule is a little wonky right now, but I'm actually really happy with this. Check it out on my Instagram. Should be posting the same time that this video does. Yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. I love you all. Thanks for coming along on this very scary journey with me. Bye.